All right, so I'm back. But anyhow, the uh the officer he brought uh two other officers with him, so it's three officers in all. And the group home staff, the staff guy, he was a guy who was over the house while we were asleep. He would come do room checks on us. But anyhow, he found her in my room, and the first thing he did was uh call her dad, and the dad come over there, and he was upset with me. And I'm like, well, at that time, man, uh, it really didn't resonate with me until after I had left, and I was still in contact with a couple of staff members who worked there, and a couple of guys who were still there, and they all told me, they said, hey, man, why did you run away? Because you wasn't in the wrong. You was in this place, which is private property, and you didn't go over there and kidnap her or anything and bring her here. She came here willingly, and like I said, they were going to try to push for statutory, so they couldn't get me on it because I believe the girl told them that it was willingly, but um, that guy was extremely upset, and he was also a sheriff. Like I said, hey man, I was ashamed of that, but now that I look back on it, I was just a young guy, just being a young guy, stupid. I didn't have no idea what I was up against with that guy and his daughter. I knew after like maybe the second time that he was an officer because I started seeing his vehicle in the driveway. So uh, I believe that he probably may have been uh, well, I know he is actually one of the ones who was out to hurt me, because he's upset about that. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you're watching, dude, I don't give a shit, man. Like I'm just gonna be honest with you because uh when it boiled down to it, man, all the stuff that you done to me could never amount to what happened with me and her. She don't even remember me. Like I seen the same girl maybe 5 years, 5 to 10 years afterwards, working in a fast food chain, and she didn't even know who the fuck I was, But I almost lost, I almost lost a lot if I would have got arrested for that. But she didn't even know who the fuck I was, man, you know. But anyhow, uh, it's another officer who's always been around, and they need to mention these officers started coming around a lot after I ran away from the group home. Cause what I did was I ran away and I went to the housing projects in the city that I was in, and I was hanging out in the housing projects selling drugs. That was my way to survive because I couldn't go home. I didn't really have a home. That's how I got in the damn group home because my parents wasn't doing what they were supposed to be fucking doing. But anyhow, uh, it's one officer. One day I was outside with my school uniform on. I was selling drugs. That's how I would do it. I would keep my school uniform on and I would sell drugs. And I know it sounds like a life story, but I'm just giving you guys some insight because this shit gonna make sense if you just listen to me and bear with me. The same damn officer, man. He was one of the guys, that uh he been coming through the neighborhood looking for me, and he had a picture of me, and a couple of guys in the projects were telling me this officer was coming around with a picture of me in his car, telling him that he was looking for me for a runaway. I need to mention I'm 17. I almost finna be 18, so I'm not really giving a shit because I'm like I'm finna be 18. That shit gonna be out the window because that's my juvenile record. But all right, sorry about that. But this officer, man, he had to be watching me or had someone watching me, like the neighborhood watch, citizens on patrol, perhaps. You know what I mean? But I didn't know anything about this when I was young like that. And what happened was I was selling drugs to this lady. She was like a nurse or something before she go to work early in the morning because the school bus would come like 6 in the morning. And she would come through there and she would get her a couple of some hits. and she would leave. But anyhow, right after I made that sale, this same officer just shows up from behind a building, but he was actually in front of me, like up on top of the hill. And he come running down the hill toward me. He was like, "Hey, I saw you, you made a sale." And then he was like chasing me and shit. So I ran away from him. And that time I got away from him. I ended up no, I take that back. I actually didn't get away from him. He caught me that day, and then he sent me back into the state system. Uh, yeah, I think I think that's what happened. He sent me back to the state of Tennessee, and they sent me out of town to another city, so I couldn't run away because in my city I was running away from the group homes. So they sent me to out of to another city. So I guess they figured if they sent me to another city, I wouldn't be able to run away as much, and they can have more control over me. But anyhow, that guy, that was one time. Now, I don't got out of the group home. I'm a grown man, right? And that same officer, man, I started having different women that I was dating in the city, and what I think they was doing was they was basically manipulating my thought patterns and manipulating the behavior of the woman, whatever woman I was with. And we was doing drugs, drinking alcohol and stuff. So I didn't have any clue about any of this stuff. So one day, me and my woman was arguing, and that same officer, man, came up behind me and knocked me out. He knocked me out, hit me in the back of the head, and basically kidnapped me because, well, he did kidnap me, and I don't know what he did to me. That's why I think they implanted this stuff. I don't know if it's some type of chip or whatever the fuck it is, because they pretty much tracked me from there on. I don't know if he had already did it or if they started tracking me after that, but I do know that he kidnapped me because uh when I came to, I woke up and I was in at home nude, and someone had put drugs on me. Like I had drugs in my stomach, and and it wasn't bagged up, but I ended up spitting the stuff up, and I knew that I didn't do that to myself. So no clothes on, footprints all over my apartment. And I said, well, how in the hell is there footprints all over my apartment? And then when I looked at my own feet, there were my own footprints. So they had me in there walking around. So this is how I know that they can control your actual body. Cause I was in there moving around and I have no recollection of this. But anyhow, the girl that I was with that night, she was in jail in a whole nother county. She was in jail maybe 30 to 40 minutes away in another county. So when I got up, her car was gone, and I didn't know what the hell to think. So the first thing I did was call her friend, because I figured, well, maybe she spent the night over her friend's house, you know? And then when I got in touch with her friend told me that she got arrested in a whole nother county. So when I goes to get the girl out, get the woman that I was with out, the woman told me that the cops knocked me out and said that they basically put me in the back of the car, knocked out, and then took her to jail. So why they didn't take me to jail? You know why? Because they did whatever sick shit they wanted to do to me. That's exactly what happened, because they took me back home, and if they said, she told me that me and her were fighting. So if I was beating up on her, why the hell they didn't take me to jail? Right? You see what I'm saying? But what they did was they took me to wherever the fuck they wanted to, deliver me to somebody, or just basically kidnap me and did whatever. But I didn't feel beat up or anything. They just took me home, and I guess to humiliate me, strip my clothes off of me. But these are the cops that are supposed to protect the neighborhoods. You know. And I'm coming back with another video because I'm gonna tell y'all about all of this shit, and I'm just gonna get it all over with.